From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Coming up on today's show, we got 3 intervals for you folks. We got a lot of questions about the future. Then we got a lot of questions about wins and losses. What would be the best case scenario? And we got a lot of positive stuff. Yeah, positive. Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Follow them on Instagram, CumminsLifestyle. As we said in the open, it is the mailbag show. You can get involved. Just subscribe to warchant.com, or subscribe rather to warchant.com. Ask the best question, or get involved with some of the best questions, draft behind them, Corey, and just be the person who's been around the longest. We're going to have like a show broken up into thirds, Corey. We've got what I've characterized as positive, wins and losses, and then the future.
All right.
And some other random stuff in there, though. Warchant.com's got you covered after this show is over, between now and the Jeff Cameron show, after the Jeff Cameron show. We're there around the clock for you, Warchant.com. Join us for only $1, and also get access to The Athletic for an entire year. Corey Clark, how are you, my friend? Fresh off writing some stuff. You had a busy little Wednesday, it felt like yesterday, man. Writing about baseball, writing about football. Thanks for taking time out to do the podcast.
That's what I do, buddy. Well, I actually wrote about softball.
Okay.
When are we running the Lonnie interview, by the way?
That's a good question, buddy. I mean, they're opening today, so it would feel weird to run it after it, but the
Probably
mailbag show
let's drop it today whenever.
Okay.
But yeah, I wrote a softball story off that after the interview with Lonnie. She's always a treat. I hope you got. Maybe it'll be at the end of this show. Who knows, everyone? But it's always a treat talking to her for 20, 25 minutes about the season and the 9 true freshmen they have on the team, which, I mean, there can't be another school in the country, a goods program in the country that has 9 true freshmen. And then, wrote about Ashton Daniels. I wasn't there in person.
Doesn't matter.
But you were. What was the vibe?
I mean, good attitude, right? Saying the right things. I'm here to earn it. Talked about, his growth, how much he's learned over the last year. Film study, he realizes how important that is, knowing where to go to, or rather who to go with the ball. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if there wasn't like any kind of aura check for me to be like, oh, man, he walked in there and you can just feel the energy shift. And you're like, this guy is the goods. But sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders, man. Yeah. I mean, they all did. We spoke to 4 young men on Wednesday. So I'm curious to see what angle, I don't want to say angle, but like where did your story kind of steer off into to
well, mainly talking about I led with Malzahn leaving.
Yeah.
Like that clearly wasn't what Ashton Daniels thought was happening when he committed to Florida State. He talked with Gus. They met. They went over film on his visit, and I think he committed to playing Gus Malzahn's offense. Now he admitted he's going to try to learn Norvell's offense. We don't have a lot of clarity on how much it's going to be Norvell, if there's going to be any holdover from Malzahn's offense, if there's going to be a hybrid of the two. But yeah, it's all up in the air. I guess we'll see or not see when spring practice starts.
I thought he handled the question. I agree with you, man. There's no way that he thought this is what he was signing up for. Not that like it's a radical departure, but I thought he handled the question well, right? I mean, he didn't even shrug or flinch. He was like, "Yeah, man, it's fine." He's a great guy, great coach. He deserves to go spend time with his family, but I'm focused on what I can do here and now. So,
especially because he hasn't played in this offense before, just like he hasn't played in Norvell's offense before. So I would think somebody in his shoes would be more concerned about just the players he's playing with. Like, yeah, man, we got good players. It doesn't really matter who's calling the plays. I'm not saying that's accurate or truth. I'm saying that's probably what he feels because he hadn't had any real time in Gus's offense either. Sperry had a year. So he might be the one that's like, oh, okay. Ashton Daniels was going to be learning a new offense either way, on the fly. So, he maybe feels like he wasted the month of January learning the offense. But, the season doesn't start for 7 more months, so we're all good.
Yeah, so we also spoke to Jalen Anderson, who is the defensive end from junior college, Pearl River Community College, Louisiana native. Also Nehemiah Chandler, claiming everywhere. Claims he's a Tallahassee native, claims that he's from Jacksonville. I like that. Man of the world.
Right.
the defensive back from South Alabama most recently, and then wide receiver Jason Lopez, who has not did not participate, I guess, in whatever they've done so far in tour of duty, because he's also a basketball player, Corey. So those are the 4 guys that we spoke with. Next week we'll do it again. Mekhi Jones, I think he's the one. Is he the one from Duke? Rylan Kennedy from A&M, E.J. White, and then Trey Wisner.
All right.
Earl Campbell reincarnate, everybody.
Well, not as big.
Ricky Williams reincarnate.
Maybe Jamal
Cedric
Charles.
Benson. Okay. Ooh, okay.
He's from Texas, right?
You heard
Or
it here
Priest
first.
Holmes. Is Priest Holmes from Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like Texas has had some good running backs over the years. It's crazy they've only had one national championship since I've been born.
Yeah,
but they've had a lot of really good football players.
I think maybe somebody on Headlines brought it up, but when you were asking, the longest gap between national titles, like if Miami is starting to face that now or whatever, and I was like, I totally forgot about Texas, right? Like, because they won in 2005, and that was the first one since the 70s, right? So
yeah, and there were other ones too. LSU was like 57 to 2007.
2003.
2003, that's right. So that's like 46 years, if my math is correct. Auburn, like a real one for Auburn, not the ones that they claimed, like the 93 win or the 94 one, but a one that was actually an actual national championship. I think they went from 59 to 2010, maybe. So yeah, Miami's still got a ways to go, but they're chipping it a quarter century now.
All right, we're going to bundle a lot of these questions today because of time constraints over on my end. We begin with our guys Marlon Joker down in Miami, and then on the other side of the coast, our guy Mark in Naples. Marlon says, "Wake up, gents. There is a stay of execution. Did the Gus retirement buy this administration, who is hemorrhaging money, and Mike another year? Also, why does it feel like 2023 was a decade ago?"
Yeah, no lie.
I think Mark puts this kind of well in terms of what the future looks like, right? There's a thread on the Tribal Council that boldly states that Mike now has the entire season, and that a midseason change is out of the question. What are your thoughts on that? To me, Mark, there's no scapegoats with the offense, quarterback play, or the running back rotation. It will be Mike's offense again, ride or die. If the offense is average to bad and we still can't win on the road, I suspect he would be out by mid to late October, given the gauntlet of opponents later in that month. Tony White, probably your interim HC. Decision made, coaching search well underway if we start off slow and then experience some bad losses, Louisville, Miami, Clemson. I want to see Mike have success on offense again. But if it's sputtering going into October, then yikes. So, yeah, I guess with a midseason, has this changed any of the calculus in your mind, Corey? Gus's retirement, has it bought them more time, this administration, to chip away at that buyout? Or in Mark's estimation, do you see a possible world where if this thing isn't right looking in October, you do a really unsavory thing and that's have to spend a lot of money to get rid of this guy?
Well, I mean, you could look at it. I know it's hard to figure out where the money comes from and what pot these dollar bills are in. But let's say right now you owe Norvell 50, right? Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
It varies depending on what contract you're looking at. But let's say you owe him 50. Well, Gus Malzahn just saved you 5 because he retired. So, and you didn't go hire a new coach. So that's $5 million you were on the hook to spend over the next 2 years that you no longer have to spend. So that alone, especially if you're not going to hire someone else, and this is just the coaching staff you're going with, you just saved $5 million. So that chipped it away. Keep that over there in that pile, and that's $45 million. He gets through another year. Now it's $35 million. So you've effectively saved yourself somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 to $18 million by having Mike Norvell coach this season. But to answer the question about what they're willing to do or if it saves them more time, man, you're listening to someone that thought there was no way he'd be the head coach Monday after the Stanford loss. None. So I don't know. I know they've, as Ira's written, we've had on the site the debt that they've incurred with the renovations and the football-only facility, his buyout, and then obviously they want to save money to try to get out of the conference. It's hard to know, oddly, it's hard to know where they rank head coaching performance on the list of the most important things right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, obviously to us, it's by far the most important. It's what we care for the most. They're having to try to think, I hope, more of a long game of like, okay, we can't worry about you should, but we can't worry about what Florida State is going to be in 2026 or 27. We're trying to position Florida State to be where it needs to be by 2030. And what's the best way to do that? My argument would be really good at football again. But they might think differently. Clearly they do because he's still the head coach. But they do have other factors to consider. And to that end, I definitely think there's a possibility that if they're not good, if they're 3-4 in October, if it gets to 3-5, he's done. But again, I thought there's no way he'd survive a 2-7 finish, Aslan. They finished 2025 with a 2-7 record, and he's still the head coach. So there's really no precedent to go by to wonder if they're going to keep him or not. In fact, I guess there is a precedent. Let's just assume they're going to keep him until they prove otherwise, because I didn't think it could get any darker than losing at Stanford for your fourth 4-game losing streak since you've been the head coach, and he's still here.
For all the grossness of this past season, you at least felt good for a whole month. Like, even if you if you go 8-4, there's no guarantee that you're going to feel good for an entire month. You might win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, you know? So, like, they had a whole month to feel good.
Yeah.
And then this thing kind of came unraveling. They didn't know where to go with it. If they start off 3-4, I mean, I guess if you beat SMU, but there's not a guarantee that's going to last for a whole month because, 2 weeks later, you got Alabama? And if you lose that game, it's going to feel like things are kind of caving in, even though it's not an ACC game. So I was thinking about, I saw this question as I was walking back from the interviews on Wednesday, Corey, and I was just like, I get it, man. Like, I'm glad that you and Ira kind of had a little bit of a snipe fest at the beginning of headlines where you guys are going back and forth on, is the Gus thing a big deal, not a big deal, optics, etc. And, you know, Ira said it so plainly at one point, and we all realize it, but we kind of do gloss over it. I don't think the school has the money, right? Like, they do not, under any circumstance, want to have to pay this buyout.
Right.
They're doing and you know, Ira said this numerous times. They've done everything, and they're doing everything they can to make this guy work. So, like, really, would 3-4 though? I mean, does that make a different level of booster, a different number of level of booster? Be like, man, I'm out. Like, well, we got to get rid of this guy. That's because the money is still the money, man, and it's $9 million better this year, and then another $9 million the year after that. So it's still going to be like over $35 million. So at a certain point, they'll have to feel the coldness of a dead football program to eventually make the decision. Now, is 3-4 going to be a cold, lifeless body? I think so, but I don't have to cut the check.
Yeah, but you also wonder what's the point of firing him that early? I mean, just like in the context of this question, whether he gets fired October 20th or December 1st, I think he'll have earned the firing. And you're just starting over. Now, because I say that because I don't think if you fire him October 20th, probably, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think that puts you to the front of the line where you're going to get – it's still going to come down to the same number of schools in December hiring. They're not going to announce who they hire on November 1st. So they'll be behind the behind the scenes dealings, but those would take place whether Norvell is still the coach or not.
See Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, right. So exactly. So if Hartline's having a good year and Norvell isn't, and you've decided Hartline's the guy, even though he's been a head coach for a year, and you go make a run at him, you can still do that behind the scenes, even though Norvell's the coach. So the race to see when he's fired, the only way it would happen to me is if it just became untenable. But I don't know what untenable is anymore. The guy just went 2-7 after going 2-10. I would have thought that was untenable. I thought Stanford was absolutely untenable. I think it helped that they had an off week the next week, but that's unbelievable they lost that game. It's unbelievable they lost 4 games in a row. But I guess it's not unbelievable. So a lot of unwords there. And I say the reason that it was kind of a back and forth with Ira, it's not that I even disagree with him. It's that I think people are allowed to be upset for a few moments.
Yeah, something's got to matter. I understand you need to look at how it's going to impact the team moving forward. Man, this college football is 3 months of football. It's 12 games, and then it's 9 months of planning and thinking about the future. And when you lose your coordinator in February, I get it. Okay, well, what does that mean? You still have the roster. You have this coach. He can call plays.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a transition. It still is a thing. Like, that's a huge talking point. That's a huge point of data that, like, this doesn't feel like it's going in a good direction.
Well, it doesn't feel. I think the bigger thing is, like, it doesn't feel like it's a little bit rudderless, right, or a lot rudderless.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to Ira's point, we knew that anyway, man. The record told us that, and it's not like we Gus being, I don't know that Gus. You save money, and I don't know that there's going to be much difference in the offensive output. I don't know that, as Ira pointed out in the ACC games, they were 11th in scoring. So it wasn't like his offense was flying high. It's just the timing of it, man. It's just another thing for Florida State fans who have not had anything to be excited about except for one Saturday last August in 2 years to be like, yeah, man, of course. This guy has no clue how to run a program, and it is crumbling around him. Now, that might not be the truth, but that's how it looks when you go 7-17 on top of your OC, who was brought in specifically to help you, just bouncing unexpectedly, as far as we know, unexpectedly 2 weeks after the portal closed. But yeah, I don't think it's a big loss, but it's also okay to feel things.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the future, right? We go to our guy Tony G from DB. Wake up! I hate that we as FSU are in the spot to ask this kind of question, but here it goes. Because the question at Florida State should always be, are we getting a bye or a home playoff game? We know another middling season is worse, or rather is the worst thing that can happen. So with that said, what would be better? 8-4, which I consider middling, which is funny because somebody else considers 8-4 to be successful. Panama, Nole 4, thinks that would be successful. What would be better, 8-4 or just a disaster that forces a change? I don't think 8-4 gets us momentum we need to progress this program forward for a better future. We got a lot of those kind of questions.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's not fair. It's going to feel like a cop out. It's not. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see how they got to the 8 wins and who was the cause of them. Because if this freshman class ends up being pretty good to go along with the up and coming sophomore class that we think is pretty good, well then that is momentum, perhaps. If one of these receivers are, Kevin Sperry, or Kevin Wynn, the Desirs keep getting better. Like all these guys that are young, that are sophomores or younger, or that will be a part of the team again next year, help you to those 8 wins, or a big part of it, then yeah, I feel like that's something you can build upon. But if it's Deuce Robinson having 1,600 yards receiving, and Wisner having 1,100 yards rushing, and Ashton Daniels being somehow a Houdini and being a really good football player and making you really good, and they're all leaving, then yeah, I don't know that you build upon that. I see the point. Like, if you miracle yourself, but if you miracle yourself to 8 wins, like if you win 3 of those are just crazy lucky wins, and the 4 losses are all blowout losses, yeah, it's going to feel to me a lot like you're basically the same team you were when you went 5-7. The record is different because you got lucky as opposed to unlucky on a handful of plays throughout the course of a season. But where's the talent level? Where's the hope that you're not just trying to be South Carolina, but you're trying to be Florida State again? Does that make sense? Like, I know that's a cop-out, but I do think it matters how it looks, how competitive you are, what it looks like on the field, the way you're playing, and who's contributing. Is it all older people that won't be here next year, or is it the young guys?
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that they go 8-4, they would fire him.
No. I don't. Was that the question? I thought it was just like, what would you feel good about?
Well, I was basically, it was 8-4. It was like, what's the worst? What would be the worst thing if they are 8-4, 7-5, where it's not this like slam, this open and shut case.
Yeah.
Or if we have to endure 3-9. Right?
Yeah, I think the point being, because 8-4, obviously he's not getting fired. So, but
that doesn't leave you. Yeah, exactly. That doesn't leave you. It doesn't necessarily mean the 27 is going to be great. Like
awesome.
That's turned around.
It's not. It doesn't mean it's a rocket ship taking off.
Yeah, but based how
just
it looks,
because you went 8-4,
who's making the plays? Youth like that. Our guy North Alabama.
But I think most people listening to this right now in February of 2026, if they had their druthers between 7 and 5 and you keep Mike Norvell, so basically you've gone 12-12 the last 2 years after 2-10 the year before that, or 3-9 and just rip the Band-Aid off. I think at this point most people would prefer 3-9 to give the administration no choice. My pushback would be, I don't know if that even is a thing. I would assume that 3-9 would be the last straw, but who knows, man?
Yeah. North Alabama, Noel. Unfortunately, I think I'm at the point of no return with the football program, at least under the direction of Mike Squared. I do not believe Alford cares about what is best for the football program, nor do I think Norvell can consistently put together a good team at this level. I mean, come on, man. You don't think Michael Alford, who's the athletic director at Florida State University, cares about what's best for the football program?
I definitely can understand the second part of that sentence.
Yeah.
The sentiment about not believing in Mike Norvell, I 100% understand.
And that sounds like I'm out here caping for that's some slang for you there, kids. Like I'm white knighting Michael Alford, but I'm not.
Is that a thing? People say that?
Yeah, you can white knight come to the defense. I am not completely out on Mike's play calling, though. Like Corey and Jeff have said, he does have a long track record of putting together a good offense. 2024, hopefully the outlier. That said, I think he has proven he's incapable of being a good Power 4 coach, which includes much more than just calling plays. As I sit here today, I don't foresee anything that either Mike could do to get me back on board until they are both gone. At this point, I think what is best for the program is another losing season. Yeah. To at least start over at the head coaching position. What say you? Are either of you more optimistic that things can get back on track long term? I don't think I can go on record to say that I want a losing season, Corey. That would not be good. Yeah, I understand the sentiment, though. And it goes back to the previous question that we just kind of kicked around, Corey, that, we want resolution because we don't know. Like we didn't really even know midway through 2022, right, Corey? They stood at 4-3. You're like, man, does this guy have what it takes or not? Like, who loses 3 games in the middle of a season and is the goods? He wins 6 in a row to close out the season. Everybody comes back. You're like, man, this is going to be a really good team. He proves that to you. Like, okay, he is him. And then 24 happens, and that just removes everything. And then I don't even know how you interpret what he did last year. He wasn't calling plays. He was your emotional leading guru. It didn't seem like a team with a lot of great emotions and a lot of great vibes. So you're back to this point where it's like, man, this is 7 years of him being the coach, and you have really no firm idea where you stand on him. I want resolution, man. I'm not going to say I want them to have a losing record, but I want whatever, to your point, Corey, how it looks. Man, I want it to lay bare at some point, whether it's October or whether it's the Saturday, after Thanksgiving when all the dust is settled in Doak Campbell Stadium after they played Florida. Man, just know. Yes, this guy can do it. No. That's all I'm asking for, maybe that's too vague, but that's what I'm asking for.
It's weird, man, because even if they have a good season, let's all, for the sake of argument, say a good season is 9-3. There will be, out of those 9 wins, there'll probably be 2 or 3 of them at least that could have gone either way. Maybe you block a kick, or you run one back, or there's a hold on a touchdown that would have won the game. Whatever the case may be, you feel a little bit lucky to have won those 3 games. So you're that close to being 6-6. Either way, you go 9-3. I don't think there's anybody listening to this after a 9-win season that would believe the next year would be automatically good.
Yeah.
I think he's lost all benefit of the doubt. And I think, for me, the reason he's lost benefit of the doubt, it's not that he can't do it. We know he can do it. We lived it. We lived it a few years ago. We won 19 straight games. We know he can do it. What I wonder about, my biggest concern with him, is identifying talent and developing it. I don't, he had Kentron Portier and Darian Williamson here for 4 years. That's his position. That's what he played in college. So and I know it takes other position coaches too, but the one thing that we all knew Jimbo could do was identify talent. Amen. And I think either you got to hire really good people that can do it for you, or you've got to be able to see it yourself. I don't trust. I keep coming back to that 2024 roster. It wasn't a 2-10 roster, fine. It wasn't a championship roster. At best, it's a 6 or 7 win roster at best. And he thought going into that season, they had a chance to be something special. Like, I don't think he knows. He hasn't proven that he knows what it's supposed to look like. He knows Jared Verse can play, and Jordan Travis eventually proved to him that he could play. And Trey Benson's really fast and big and breaks tackles. We all can see that, man. Yeah. We want you, for the money you're getting and for the program you're leading, to see things at maybe a special level. Guys that should be here. And also, especially because you don't seem to have the ability to lure big-time, 5-star, super-duper, all-American talent here, you've got to be able to find diamonds in the rough better than he's proven to be. It just now, but again, this last freshman class I think was his best and his most productive. Let's see what this one is. If this one is pretty good too, and has 10 to 12 guys that can really contribute and play, then okay, maybe he's turned the corner and maybe he's figured things out personnel-wise. Because to me, whether the mindset of the team, the emotions of the team, it's not like everybody at Miami likes Cristobal, and they all play hard every second of every game, and they don't make dumb mistakes. Just like not everybody, I'm sure, likes Signetti on that football team. So I don't really care that much about the emotion or that stuff. I want to know if you can identify talent and put together a roster that's good. That's your main job. And, here we are in year 7, and Ashton Daniels is probably his starting quarterback. So that doesn't fill me with a ton of hope, but I do hope I'm wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so if they do end up not being very good, because I want more than anything else. Well, maybe not more than anything else. More than most things in this world. I want Florida State football to be good again. And I hope it happens sooner rather than later. I hope it happens this year. But I'm not filled with hope with him personally, because I don't believe he knows what he's looking at, or has proven that he knows what he's looking at an elite level to fill this roster with high-level talent.
I know what I'm looking at whenever I look at the menu at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Corey. I'm looking at delicious options everywhere. Handhelds, burgers, wings, wraps, maybe even the Corey wrap, ice-cold drinks, very affordably, reasonably priced in this economy. And then I got darts over here. I'm done doing darts. I already beat you in cricket. Let's go play some 8-ball. Let's go play some 9. I'm a 9-ball guy, Corey, in case you wondered. I'm a 9-ball guy.
Yeah, I did wonder. Thank you for letting me know.
All of it is up there. All of it is for your enjoyment at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. Later tonight, bingo, 7 p.m., 1,000 American dollars up for grabs over 4 rounds. So get involved, bring your dauber, and if you don't have plans for the Super Bowl, go watch the big game, the Super Bowl, over the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
I believe Bill will even have some Super Bowl squares that you might be able to take part in. Okay. I would say if you go to Corner Pocket anytime in the next couple of days and you see Bill, or you can ask for Bill and see if he's around, see if you can take part. I think you do have to be there Sunday, though, to collect. You're not going to be one of those, you put your name in the square and then bounce and then ask for him to mail you the money. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be there. I think that's how Super Bowl squares should work anyway,
Absolutely.
Aslan. You don't leave the party at halftime and they get the money. No, you got to be there. It goes to whoever's closest. And then also Saturday night, Tom and the Cats. I confirmed it. Tom and the Cats, 8 p.m. They've been playing Tallahassee, I think, since Jim Morrison was a student. It's been a minute. But, yeah, they've been playing for a long time. The venerable Tom and the Cats, starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. Yes, so getting you ready for the Super Bowl weekend, the Super Bowl festivities. And you can also go there Saturday during the day, although I think it's during the day, and watch the Florida State men's basketball team play at Notre Dame.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and Napa Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Cummins. CumminsLifestyle. Follow them on Instagram. Colonel Burke. Corey, wake up. How come nobody tries to jump the Grand Canyon anymore?
That's a good question. I remember, was it like 15 years ago when the guy walked across it the trapeze artist? Do you remember that?
The flying Walindas or something like that?
I don't think he was a Walinda. He could have been. No, they're the ones that do so maybe not trapeze, the tightrope. Yeah, they should do trapezes over the Grand Canyon. Can you imagine that? No, he just walked the tightrope across the Grand Canyon. It almost made me vomit watching it. But then I realized that it wasn't on. It's good. The Netflix guy climbed that skyscraper, which I just saw a couple of clips of that, and it made me want to vomit. I can't even believe it. The hair stands up on the back. The hair that I have stands up on the back of my head and neck when I think about that dude climbing the. But on the Grand Canyon, the same thing. The guy was walking across the tightrope. I think it was ABC or something.
It was Nick Walenda. June 24th, 2013, became the first person to walk across a gorge near the Grand Canyon on a high wire, traversing 1,400 feet across the Little Colorado River Gorge.
I thought it was the flying Walindas.
Well, hey, they're versatile.
They're flying and walking really slowly. The slowly walking Walindas is what they should change their name to. But also, I found out that ABC had it on a tape. They said it was alive, but they had it on a tape delay. So if my man would have plummeted to his death, we wouldn't have seen it.
Do you know how long it took for him to walk 1,400 feet?
31 minutes.
22 minutes, 54 seconds.
Yeah, and his wife was on the other side. He had people in his ear. I can't even imagine it. But if he falls, it's unbelievable.
He had no safety devices. Yeah.
I know. I watched it, and I was petrified. I'm like, am I going to watch this guy plummet to his death? And then I found out later, no, that wasn't a possibility, because if he had, they'd have stopped the feed.
Right.
It's like, well, then there's no really stakes for any of us. There's stakes for him. But the reason I think you watch that kind of stuff is there's the off chance you don't want to see it, but there's the off chance that if something horrible happens, it's on live TV. But that's not the case with that. It would have been I don't know what it would have been with Netflix. I assume we would have seen him fall to his death, which would have been horrifying. And that's why I didn't watch it. And it was just gross, and I still have a pit in my stomach. Anyway, so I know that was way too long a answer to that question, but yeah, I don't know why they don't do it anymore. Evel Knievel might have been the last.
I've got a whole rant about we're scared these days, man. And I was
not that guy that climbed the skyscraper.
Yeah, Alex Honnold. Yeah, I had this whole rant in my mind about car pickup lines, Corey. But
yeah, that wasn't a thing I remember much as a kid.
I don't either.
Then I took my kid. Now sometimes he did because he lived in two different houses. He couldn't ride the bus when he stayed with me anyway, so I had to take him because we didn't have a bus stop. Or the school only allowed him to have one bus stop, which I thought was goofy because there's a lot of kids that have that come from divorced families. But yeah, so I hear you, man. And like I would get there sometimes. School would let out at 3:30, and I didn't want to wait in line for an hour. So I would get there at like 2:45. I'd get there 50 minutes early and just sit in line. It's like, what message am I giving to my kid? That he's that important that I'm going to waste 50 minutes of my life just sitting in an idling car to make sure little Brady, as soon as he comes out of school, gets to hop right into a car instead of having to do what I did and hop on a bus or walk home.
I can't wait to see Brady cross the Grand Canyon. It's going to be incredible.
Man, that would be something.
Here, these three questions are all very similarly aligned, Corey. We begin with Panama Knoll 4. Ultimately, is this the best thing that could have happened? With Gus kind of walking away, Mike getting back to basics. To me, this is the best thing that could have happened. If FSU is successful, 8-4, 9-3, it's likely because we're scoring points. It means Mike possibly got his mojo back. Then we also go down to Big Steve-O 22. He lives in Alabama. Most people around there are pretty happy that Gus is gone. So it's not good for us because, he always gave Alabama problems. But anyways, he's pretty about Norvell calling plays and being more involved, but with the GM taking things off of his plate and allowing him to focus on just the offense, like Brent Venables, why wouldn't it be far-fetched to think we could have a successful offense? At least he doesn't have to worry about the grind of evaluating players in high school or college players and just focus on what's in front of him. He's proven to be a good play caller. So we have that one. And then I think, again, just kind of aligned with it, our guy Knoll for Life class of 2007, which I think this is the right mindset, Corey. I do not have the energy or even care to crash out over Gus's decision to retire. Good luck to him. That said, the news that Mike is going back to calling plays, I see it as a best case scenario. So is this ultimately a good thing, Corey?
Man, we'll see. I think I know I don't know. It's February. I appreciate the question. I promise I do. It's impossible to answer. We'll see what the offense looks like. Again, the benefit of Gus, the pro of having Gus, is that you knew you weren't going to fall flat on your face. It was going to be a competent offense that moved the ball. It just was. He's done it everywhere. And they're going to run the ball, and they're going to move the ball. We don't know for sure that Mike Norvell's offense won't fall flat on its face. I trust Gus Malzahn, and it's recency bias, but I trust Gus Malzahn to run an offense right now more than I do Mike Norvell. But it's by varying degrees. It's not like I think Gus Malzahn is, I don't know, name a great offensive coordinator.
Kyle Shanahan.
Sure, there you go. I don't think he's that. But right now, because of what I've seen the last 2 years, Gus's offense was better than Norvell's offense. So just by that alone, I would think that.
How about that stat from Ira that the 2020 and 2021 offenses had better, I think, points per game in the ACC than Gus's offense this past year?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's right. Like Gus didn't bathe himself in glory. We all know that. I don't think there was ever a world in which he would have had an offense like 2024.
Absolutely agreed.
I don't think this one will be that either, though. I think you're going to have, at worst, a quarterback that can run and a quarterback that's pretty good. Meaning, either one of those two guys can, like Brock Glenn and Kromenhoek, which is what Norvell was saddled with for the last 8 games of that season, was basically having no quarterback at all. Sorry, guys, but Kromenhoek is fighting for a job at USF. It's his third school. Brock Glenn is where? Western Kentucky?
Yeah.
Those were the two quarterbacks. That was the level of quarterback that was competing for the starting spot at Florida State. And they were both young, behind a bad offensive line. So this offense, just by the pure personnel, will be better than what we saw in 2024. So that makes me feel better. But I just, I don't completely trust Norvell to have some answers because he had none that year. But then again, as I just pointed out, maybe there were no answers to have. Maybe he was taking a test in a language he didn't know. So there were no right. He couldn't even begin the test. How do you begin a test when you have an offensive line that's horrible, no wide receivers, and young quarterbacks who aren't very good? But you're starting behind a bunch of 8 balls. But I think what I like about it is that, again, Norvell goes – it's all on Norvell now, man, as a questioner pointed out a few minutes ago. It's all his now.
Yes.
The offense is his. The team is his. Every personnel decision is his. We don't have to wonder who's making the running back decisions or who's making the quarterback decisions. It's Mike Norvell. So good. At least we know. There is no separation of power. It's all Mike on that side of the ball. It's all Mike Norvell. And, again, it's a lot of talk about the offense when I'm actually still more worried about the defense because I do think with either Daniels or Sperry, you're going to have a mobile quarterback who's going to get you a bunch of hidden first downs. You've got one of the best receivers in the country, certainly in the conference, and I think you're going to have a strong enough running game. And Dancy's Dancy. Like, you've got guys there on offense. I think they'll be pretty good.
Let's go to the positive part of this podcast, Corey. You ready for some positivity, the power of positivity? Let's go to SQuint67. Hey, Aslan, glad you had a good time on your bachelor party. Good luck with the wedding. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck, Aslan.
I'm going to try to generate some positive discussion. With our adjusted offense hierarchy in place now, what aspects of our success from last year do you think can be duplicated? We did have a top 20 offense after all. Also, what do you think we can be better at this year versus what Gus was doing last year? Also, bonus question, if practice is open to the media again, in what aspect will you pay more attention? What information did you feel like you were missing by being excluded last year? Very little. Had a pretty good idea what was going to happen most every Saturday. I don't know what I would think, Corey, if I was able to watch practice, what I would focus on more. Because again, I think Tom was in New York during spring of 24. So I'm like, I'll look at the offensive line. I'm like, they look pretty good to me. I think they're all right. They clearly were not. For me, man, it's hard to, it's just more about you're there for 2 hours and the way they perform in that first period. I know period 3, man, it's their first 11 on 11. It's tempo. everything they do in practice, they've already looked at in a meeting. So when they get on the field, they should be crisp and ready to go. That 23 team, like we saw it. So I remember what that looks like. I've got that rubric in front of me. And then I put the other team underneath it. I'm like, does that line up? And like, it never lined up in 24. Like it just didn't line. They did not look, they didn't operate fast. They did not operate efficiently. So for me, it's more about the way they look operationally. Are they catching the ball? Is it hitting the ground? More so than, I don't know. Are the receivers getting open a lot in one-on-one drills? Is the offensive line winning in pass pro drills during period 16? To me, man, it just comes down to 11 on 11, how you look on 11 on 11.
Yeah, I'll take the first part, though. To replicate or duplicate from last season, I think Deuce and Danzy, Danzy's still going to be really fast. Deuce is still going to be tall. And I think they're both good. I think Deuce is really good. So I think that can be replicated. We'll see what Boggs is. That'd be nice if he emerged as a legitimate starting in an NCAA wide receiver. And so, yeah, I think that's what gives me the hope and I think Cromaw's good, man. I think Cromaw and Wisner is a really good 1-2 combo, and Singleton, I guess, is a 1-2-3 combo in the backfield. And I trust, not that Gus wasn't pretty good at it too, but I do think Norvell's really good at calling screen passes and getting running backs the ball in space. And so that is one thing I can think that would be probably better. And you hope the quarterback play, honestly, is better. You hope all that is better.
More positivity. DJ R Star. Wake up, gentlemen. I'll admit to being a natural optimist. I thought Steve Robinson could turn it around.
Oh, there you go. Wow, old school.
I think Mike's a good play caller. As Corey says, there really weren't any good plays to call in 24. How many times did Mike scheme something open that year at a critical moment only to have an untimely drop, penalty, or some other player blunder? So my question is this. Is there a single player or position coach for this year's offense that you don't think is an upgrade from 2024? I'll even say our entire 4-deep quarterback room is better than the version of DJ we got. That gives me hope. Am I crazy to think it's possible to have a better team next year than last? All right, Corey, I think that sums up the positive, optimistic side the most, and we'll showcase them on this podcast of ours. It is generating discussion. It is sparked by Cummins. This week, it is sparked by DJ R Star. We'll do our giveaway for the month of January on Monday's show for the gift bag, but everybody gets entered into that grand prize drawing for the ultimate tailgate. Without further ado, Corey, though, give us some energy.
Sorry, Shannon. It's hard to do this and be silent. It's no, what do we call them? What do you call the French people that don't talk? Memes? Mimes. Golly, I can't. I'm so 2026 that I wanted to call them French memes because that's where my brain is. But yeah, French mimes. So I can't do that and not make a sound. So to answer this question, no, it's not crazy to think that this team or this offense can be better than last year's team. But to what degree, and does that excite anyone? Like, it's not hard to win 6 games in college football. Literally 80 teams did it this year. And Florida State wasn't one of them. So in 2024, yes, I think other than, I think Patrick Surtain was pretty good at what he did. Other than that, when it comes to personnel and assistant coaches, we'll see about Gus, the Gus leaving and Norvell taking over play calling. I think it's fine. I think it's probably close to even, or maybe I do like Tony White, and I do think he's a smart guy and a bright guy. I don't know. He doesn't have Patrick Payton or Marvin Jones Jr. I mean, those guys played at big schools this past year. I don't know what his defensive in room will look like. So personnel aside, I do think the coaches are probably better. And personnel wise, I think you're better at linebacker than you were. I'm talking about last year. There's no need to compare anybody to 2024. But let's just try to forget that out of our memories forever. I think linebacker, you're better. Is that it on defense?
I don't have it on the screen, but he thinks that the defense has better personnel this year than last. I don't agree with that. You lost Darrell Jackson. You lost Earl Little. You lost, Jerry Wilson. I don't think you're better off because you lost those guys.
Yeah, you got some guys in the secondary. I think the secondary could be a push. Barker could be a good player if he can stay healthy. They kept him, and Rawls is very good and should be better. So that all helps. But yeah, you lost Darrell Jackson. We don't know what Kevin Wynn is, other than he's big and strong as a house. But we don't know if he can play football at a high level yet. And the Desir should be better, but that's just three names. Don't really know much about the other guys. Daniel Lyons, solid-ish. McCray, solid-ish. Defensive end.
Well,
don't know.
Offensively, though, all right, so you lost David Johnson. You got Cam Martin. I don't know, push.
Sure.
You lost Tony Tokars. You've got two guys now helping out at quarterback. I mean, love Tony. I think he's a really good guy. I don't think he was in over his head. I don't know how much coaching he did other than maybe some individual drills. Otherwise, it was Gus giving all the direction. So, I mean, Gus steps aside. Now it's these two younger guys that haven't been around as much. And ultimately, I mean, Tim Harris is your offensive coordinator. I think most people probably think Gus Malzahn's a better offensive coordinator than Tim Harris. But, is Tim Harris really OC or is it really Mike Norvell? So, I don't know, man. You consolidate all that. You reconcile all that. I mean, at best, maybe slight edge to this year's staff. I mean, just if you think that if Mike 2023, 2022 resurrects, that is better than Gus Malzahn. So that's what you're kind of pinning your hopes to. But then personnel-wise, Corey, I mean, I don't know. Is Ashton Daniels? I don't know if he's better than DJ Uiagalelei. I mean,
I think he's better. I think he's better than that version that we saw because he couldn't move, and it was pointless to have him out there if there was no running ability at all. There was no threat to run, and that just completely weakened the offense to the point it couldn't function.
And then offensive line, sorry to interrupt, Corey, but then offensive line, I don't think they're better than they were last year, man. You lost Luke Pettibone. I think he was one of the better centers in the conference. Micah Pettis was a really good tackle. Medley had been around for a long time, knew the system, knew Herb Hand, knew Gus Malzahn. Gunnar Hansen was in a lot of battles in the SEC. Whatever, they haven't won a national title in 3 years. They suck now. I get it. And Richie Leonard, had a really good head on his shoulders, really good leader, things like that. So, I mean, again, you've gone to Stephen F. Austin, Bowling Green. Your center's on his third different school in 3 years, although he was a All-American freshman at Auburn a few years ago. So maybe it's not as big of a step back with Luke. But everybody said such glowing things about Luke Pettibone that him and Pettis, you lose those two guys, I don't think you're better on the offensive line than you were last year. But I can't say how much of a drop-off it is.
Yeah, we don't know what the drop-off will be. But, yeah, I don't expect it to be better. You hope it's almost as good. And maybe you make up for it with better running backs and better skill player, and better quarterback play, and a healthy quarterback that will run. That always helps offensive lines look better. But, yeah, man, I think, honestly, when you look at that offense from last year going into this year, I think Pettibone is the biggest loss. I think he was their best offensive lineman. I think they loved him as what he just meant for a locker room and what he meant for that team and that unit. And you've got to replace that. That's real leadership. And they were all 23 years old that played a ton of football at a high level. Whether they were NFL guys or not, they had been around it at a high level. And you mentioned those other names, those other schools. It's different. It's different when you make this jump. Some do it easily. The transition is easy. Jeremiah Byers was supposed to be great. Well, he played at UTEP. And clearly going against Florida and Miami and LSU is different than what he was facing at UTEP. He was just serviceable at best, and he was supposed to be kind of a star. And that didn't really materialize. So, yeah, I do think the offense, the spirit of the question, I think the offense can be as good as last year. And that's not, but to my overall sentiment and dismay, that's not a high bar to clear. We're not talking about a great offense. I know they finished top 20, but as Ira pointed out, we've talked about, they were 11th in the conference in scoring against conference opponents. So it's not a big bar to clear to be better than that. But if they are, and they can be, because I do think you have a strength at wide receiver, and we have no idea what the quarterback position will be, and I think that obviously trumps everything. If Daniels ends up being really good, or if Sperry ends up being pretty darn good, because Tommy at best was average. And if you get better play than average at the quarterback spot, and you get a quarterback that'll get you some first downs with his legs, that will be a huge benefit moving forward.
Yeah, it's not out the realm of possibility that they've upgraded quarterback. But I think right now, in the here and now, there's no way that we feel better about Ashton Daniels
Correct.
than we did about Tommy and
Right.
Gus at this point.
I think at anything we feel it's a push.
At best.
At best, yeah, we feel it's a push right now. Right now, absolutely.
Listen, man, I was squinting at Ashton Daniels, trying to make him look like Jordan Travis, trying to tune my ears so he sounded like Jordan Travis.
To give him a little bit of leeway or to, a benefit of the doubt, some grace. Yeah. You can look at his stats and be like, man, if it hasn't happened by now, it's not going to happen. This is his 5th year of college football, and he's at his 3rd school, and he's fighting for a starting spot. So if it hasn't happened by now, what in the world would make us think that it is going to happen? The one thing you can hold on to is when you look at those last 2 games he played last year, maybe it did click. Maybe that's what Ashton Daniels at peak efficiency looks like. And those last 2 games were, kind of dynamic.
Setting the tone and attacking at all.
Yeah.
We can hear Kirk Herbstreit talking.
Oh, is he? Oh, sorry. I can't hear him. I thought I muted him. I'm sorry. Fine. I gave Kirk oxygen on this show.
It's fine.
I'm going to hell for that one.
But what did he throw for against Vanderbilt?
353, 89 on the ground, threw for 259, 108 on the ground against Alabama.
Yeah, so 367 total yards against Alabama and 440 yards and 3 touchdowns against the top 15 Vanderbilt team. Those are Heisman numbers. Very small sample size, everyone. And I'm not going to start the Ashton Daniels for Heisman campaign just yet, but those are great numbers in competitive games against good teams. So maybe that was him finding it, and he can just build upon that. Or maybe that was a two-game anomaly and against not great defenses. It's Kirk Herbstreit again.
Oh, jeez. Why does it keep doing that? Stop, ESPN. I don't want to listen to you.
Good grief. But anyway, so that's the hope, is that there's something to build on there. But when you look at those overall stats from his career, it's hard to look at that and be like, yeah, he's about to find it.
That would be 24 touchdowns, 22 picks, 60% completion percentage. But hey, 1,400 yards on the ground. And he ran for 669 at Stanford. So
yeah, well, he's a running threat, man. And he's a bigger kid than Tommy. So you hope he's a little more little less injury prone. Man, there's the chance he could be a difference maker. And he could be the difference between 5 wins and 8 wins, or 5 wins and 15 wins. He might be about to take this thing to the moon.
The positive. That's the positive segment, everybody. That's what we needed to end it out. Give CumminsLifestyle a follow on Instagram. Look at all the awesome things you can do when you got portable power in your hands. Cummins does it better than nobody else. Go check it out over on Instagram. Corey, give us the deuces. Underdog Sports. Hang out with them virtually this weekend, every day. Everything's available over there, man. We got NBA games, college basketball, NHL, tennis, soccer, PGA, esports, League of Legends, LOL. I think that's what LOL stands for, League of Legends. But obviously, the big game, as lots of people like to call it. Drake May and the Patriots. Sounds so weird, Corey. Drake May and the Patriots taking on Sam Darnold. Yeah. If Sam Darnold and Drake May are in the Super Bowl, why can't we be in the playoff next year, Corey?
Hey, man. Yeah, the Patriots went 4-13 in back-to-back years, and now they're in the Super Bowl. I'm going to guess one of the answers is that Drake May is better than Ashton Daniels. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, so we got a limited menu. We've already thrown out some picks, but let's go a little bit deeper down the board here. Cooper Kupp, Corey, once the Triple Crown winner in receiving. Yeah. Will New England and Mike Vrabel do everything they can to take away Seattle's top weapon, which is Jackson Smith and Jigba, and let maybe Cooper Kupp eat? 32.5 receiving yards, 2.5 receptions, 4.5 targets, 15.5 yards longest reception. I feel like 2.5 receptions higher.
Yeah, I would think so. I think he's going to get – I think he's going to get 3. He's the number 2, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And, yes, I would say let's go higher than 2.5 receptions. I think that's a good bet.
Stephon Diggs, 44.5 receiving yards. Will Drake May find him for 44.5 receiving yards, 4.5 receptions, 5.5 targets? We can go really early, Corey. 6.5 first quarter receiving yards.
Oh, my gosh. Higher.
Boom.
It'd help if they got the ball first. That's the one thing about the NFL and every Florida State game of the last 2.5 years, it seems like. A team's going to have the ball for 11 minutes. They have these 9-minute drives in the NFL where each team gets the ball once in a quarter. So if the Patriots got the ball first in the first half, that gives Stephon Diggs 2 different drives, maybe 3, but at least 2 different possessions to catch a 7-yard out. So let's hope the Patriots – can we bet on that, the coin toss?
I don't see it on here right now.
Okay, well, I still want to go higher than 6.5 yards in the first quarter.
Okay. Actually, there probably is a lot of this sort. Let's see. Fumbles lost one. All right, last one. Kenneth Walker, Seattle's lead running back, 74.5 rushing yards.
That seems like a lot.
It is. It does seem like
Let's go lower.
Okay.
That seems like a lot.
That does seem
And the Patriots are good against the run, I think.
There you go. That's another 4-to-1 payout, about 2.5-to-1 payout. If you do the flex, which if you get one wrong, you can still end up getting some money. That's the awesome thing about Underdog.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Aslan. If we were doing this about the World Series or the World Cup or the NBA Finals, are we allowed to say those words?
Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Underdog, make picks, win money. Play responsibly. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Mad dash to the finish line. It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Cummins, CumminsLifestyle. Give them a follow on Instagram. Noli Maximus says, well, I didn't see this one coming. The timing of Gus leaving is really bizarre, which is the only reason it's surprising. Anyways, I agree with Corey. Mike is probably really happy about this. My question is more about the offensive line with Gus gone. Herb Hand came with Gus. He has a proven track record. And what he did with last year's group was impressive, but knowing he came here with Gus, has worked with Gus for many years, is there any concern that if Mike goes back to counter more or change the scheme a little bit, that this group of linemen may not perform as well as they would under Gus? Am I right to be concerned about this aspect of the moves? I can't imagine Mike is just going to run Gus's offense without his own flavor to it. And then some more positivity. Cole Quitnell, Corey. Didn't Mike have a nice streak of 30-plus points scored per game in 2022 and 2023? 15 games or so, I think. He can call a good game when he has a decent offensive line and can run the ball. I have confidence in that with Herb Hand here.
I think the counter to that would be in with Jordan Travis as his quarterback. And so what I wonder is the thing that bothers me the most about it, and we'll never know, is if you knew Malzahn was leaving in December, what does the quarterback position look like right now? Is it any different? I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know how much money they would have spent. I was selling the thought that you don't need a great quarterback. You don't need to spend a lot of money if Gus is your offense anyway, because you don't have a traditional passing game. It's not a pro-style offense. So you're limiting the people that will want to come play in this thing. Look who you've got in the last 2 years. Tommy Castellanos and Ashton Daniels. But they were coming to play for Gus. And so you don't need to go spend big on a quarterback if Gus is your OC, because the OC is the offense is what gets the yards and you hope the points and the mobility of the quarterback. Well, so you're okay with Ashton Daniels until you realize, oh, well, never mind, he's gone. So what would have changed if Gus had done this 2 months ago? Now, there would have been some negatives, I guess, that you lose like maybe Tim Harris and you lose Herb Hand maybe, and there's not some stability on that side of the ball. But honestly, who cares? I in hindsight, now that this happened, man, you saved money on Gus leaving, so you're saving that $5 million. And I know Ashton Daniels is not paying a ton. I think it would have been smart, and it would have been better for Florida State to go get a damn good quarterback and not one that you hope is decent. But Florida State got one they hope is decent, or maybe they think Sperry is the guy. But, either way, it feels like they're spending cheap at quarterback, which is not smart when your job is on the line. And I do think Mike is happy that it's his offense now. Personally, not having has said one word to him in the last 6 weeks. I think he would have preferred this to happen 6 weeks ago, and they could have gotten their ducks in a row to go get a quarterback to run his offense.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So, and maybe Sperry or Daniels is the guy. They're not that different, the two offenses, but they are different. And I think you limited the potential of who would come here when Gus was the OC. So, yeah. So, all that being said, don't know what it's going to matter win-loss wise. And he said, is it okay to be concerned, or is it a good reason to be concerned? All this is reason to be concerned. All of it. Every single thing we've seen the last 2 years is a reason to be concerned. What I'm not concerned about is that Florida State won't eventually get back to good again. I know that will happen. I promise you guys that's going to happen. I'm concerned about the short term because who wouldn't be? And nothing that would have happened in the last 6 weeks would have me unconcerned about it. So maybe he'll ease our concerns, guys, in October and November of this year. And we'll be like, yeah, man, he's back. He's found it. He's good again. We're all set. And Sperry's awesome. Going to have him for another year. That'll be cool. But, we'll see.
I think there's some algebra equation out there that I'd be curious to see how it shakes out. When you think about Ashton Daniels and Trey Wisner versus quarterback X that could have been out there, and then you just ride with Cromon and Singleton and walk on running backs. Because I think, to your point, I think if this happens however many weeks prior, I mean, do they spend big on a guy like Wisner, or does Mike say, listen, I like Usmain, I think Sam's good enough, let's get I don't want premium, but like a above average college quarterback? I wonder if that's something, that's something to kind of keep in mind. Tennis ump, I am cautiously optimistic about this season, even with a difficult schedule. I liken the fact that Mike will be calling plays with his job on the line to a professional athlete in his money year, when they all of a sudden seem to play harder and concentrate more. Thoughts?
Yeah, is he talking about any athlete in particular, or just he's likening this?
Yes.
Yeah, but what if the team just isn't good enough? His acumen to call plays and design offensive plays and game plans, we know he can do it. I'm not necessarily worried about that. But if his defense isn't any good, who cares? His offense isn't going to be so good. We know that. I just don't think when you have when your quarterback is either a guy that's never played really, or Ashton Daniels, you're not going to have a great offense. Like Ashton Daniels at Stanford, by the way, really impressive kid talking to him. I know that's what you guys care about the most, is how they are behind a podium. Impressive kid, mature, really smart. Didn't realize his dad was a wide receiver at UGA that played at Norcross High School, Juan Daniels, who was he was like a superstar in Gwinnett County back in the day. I didn't realize that was his dad. Good athlete, we all know that, and very smart, mature, hopefully a leader. But he's been around the block, man. He's seen a lot of college football. But at Stanford, he had 21 touchdowns and 20 interceptions in 2 years. Now, I know he wasn't playing with great competition, but 21 touchdown passes, 20 interceptions. And then last year at Auburn, he couldn't play until the final 2 games of the season. And when he did play, he was really good. He averaged over 400 yards of total offense. So we don't know what we're getting exactly, but we know you're not getting Mendoza or Mensah. This is just a pretty good quarterback at best. At best, he has not been good. He has not been a good college quarterback by the real definition of the word good. He's been average-ish. Maybe he takes a leap in those 2 games at the end of last season against 2 good teams, Vanderbilt and Alabama, give him the confidence and the self-belief, and this offense is a fit for him, and he becomes good. But odds are, And so you have either him, Ashton Daniels, or you have a guy that might be good but has never played.
I did find it interesting that a young man who's played football for 3 years at college and his father played ball was like, I've learned the importance of film study. It's like, man, it took you 3 years on that one? But hey, better late, but maybe, again, maybe his development was kind of stunted by that, and then now he's going to have a huge jump. That's one thing I would say probably.
But
I think,
what was it the context of that question? Like, what have you learned over your time in college?
yeah, just
Not like, what did you learn in the last month being at Florida State?
correct. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
he played pretty good towards the end of last season. Again, I think Brendan's question was he was, I think 3 touchdowns through the air, 2 interceptions, but one of them was like a Hail Mary maybe, and the other one got tipped. So he seemed to have been a little bit better protecting the football, although I think he fumbled against Alabama.
The one interception he threw against Alabama was a ball that hit right off his guy's face mask.
Yeah.
He
more locked.
That's what we call it now. And the point being what I was saying is like, I think Mike Norvell is going to coach very, very hard. I do think he's going to coach like his life depends on it. I don't know if he has the talent available, the requisite talent for that to matter. I hope he does. Yeah. But I don't know that, like, if he's really got his nose to the grindstone and working 20 hours a day and he finds some special sauce, that it's going to mean they're going to have 10 wins. I don't foresee that happening. So I do like I just like, and I appreciate the sentiment of the question, but I like the fact that it's all on him, man. He will know at the end of year 7, man, I just don't have it. I don't have it. It's isn't for me anymore. Like, he'll want to keep the job, surely. He likes the paycheck. I guess he gets paid either way, doesn't he, Aslan? But I don't. I think it's more important, like, somebody like Jabril Rawls or even Danzy, I guess, would be draft eligible. Wyatt Wisner will be draft eligible. Like, those guys playing really damn hard because it's a money year. Not because they have great love for Florida State. It's college football in 2026, man. It's not a lot about school pride anymore. But you do have some guys in real money years, and you do have a team that's being doubted with a big old chip on its shoulder. Maybe that will parlay itself into a few extra wins. Who knows? Or some, harder practices. More, I don't know, self-driven. We'll see. It kind of fell on its face in the middle of last year, though.
I think we got 3 more, Corey. I'm just going to read this one. You can comment if you'd like. It's somewhat funny and timely. And they've been around since March 2021. This is their first ever post.
Oh, all right, man. 5 years. Almost the 5-year anniversary.
Scott Jackson. That's what he goes by. Scott Jackson. Shout out, Scott, for putting your face and your name. You could have posted whatever you wanted. I would have read it verbatim. That's why I let people who talk crap about me on YouTube, if they use their real name in a face photo, I'm like, all right, I'll let it ride, Corey.
Okay, that's
But
smart.
if they hide behind anonymity, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to let that ride.
How do you know it's their real name, though?
Well, at least they're trying.
Right, they have a cool pseudonym.
Yeah. Anyhow, first ever posts coming out of Cottondale, Florida, Corey.
Okay.
No famous athletes, just registered sausage.
That's right.
I was at Cottondale one time when I was in Dothan. I came down and covered a high school football game. I don't remember their mascot, but I loved it. It was good. It was good environment at Cottondale on the sidelines. Anyhow, my question is, will Mike Norvell utilize his own message of response given the situation of Gus retiring? Will this news coming out on Groundhog Day yield FSU 6 more seasons of competing for ACC championships, or just 6 more years of a rebuild with the next new head coach? Could Mike Norvell be our Punxsutawney Phil for the future with this opportunity to walk the walk and give us fans a response we deserve?
So, by the way, Atlanta has their own Punxsutawney Phil. It's called General Beauregard Lee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I think he saw his shadow, too. Doesn't that mean 6 more months of winter or whatever, 6 more weeks?
Yeah.
It's all dumb. I think I saw something where
not. It's
Punxsutawney
science.
Phil's hit rate was like 39 or 40%. What are we even doing?
Better than your
when
meteorologist?
you think back, like somebody from a foreign land that would come to Pennsylvania for that day and saw all that nonsense, like the pageantry of it all.
Have you seen Abby showed me a video of it, and they have pyro there now, Corey. Like it was 4 a.m. and there was thousands of people going hard like it was Coachella. It's crazy.
And the guy, so they have, the people tailgate in 10-degree weather to see this dumb rodent come out, have no idea what's going on. A bunch of guys in top hats, like they're on a Monopoly board, reading some proclamation, and then he goes back into his hole and has no idea what just happened. It's just odd. It's fine. We all got to have, there's a gruntworm race or something near us in Tallahassee. So every part of the world has their own little traditions. It's just odd that we care.
Yeah.
And everybody says, well, did he see a shadow? Yeah. Who gives a blank? Who gives a blank? Anyway, back to the question. And General, I don't know. I can't remember if he saw a shadow or not, Phil.
Yeah.
General Beauregard Lee did, though, so keep that in mind. That question, I know it was done in tongue-in-cheek. Yeah. When we think about what they didn't do after the Stanford game and what they didn't do at the end of last year, I think the point that Ira and I tried to make, and I'm not trying to relitigate it, is firing him when he absolutely proved he deserved it doesn't take away the debt that the school faces. And it doesn't necessarily, which is a ton, and a lot because of him in that contract they gave. It also doesn't erase the mistake you made by giving him the extension. It's not like you just clap your hands and say, well, thank God we're done with that. No, it actually it compounds the mistake because you have to pay that guy not to coach. So you give him a little runway here this year, or maybe for the rest of our lives, guys. I don't know how long Norvell's going to be here. To see if it can get any better. Because as Ira and I definitely tried to point out, and I think even anybody listening to this that doesn't agree with what I'm saying or going, here he goes again, you can all admit there was no guarantee that 2026 was going to be good no matter who the coach was. So at worst, you're wearing another crappy season. Well, you're used to it now. And you've whittled down the debt. And it also, I don't think it was a great coaching cycle. You've whittled down the debt. You've whittled down what you owe. And if he proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, speaking of groundhogs, beyond a shadow of a doubt that he can't get it done, well, you've wore it for one extra year, which I know we all want instant gratification and instant success and instant fixing. But then I hope that you've set yourself up to get better quicker than if you would just rip the Band-Aid off last year and scrambled for a head coach that maybe you didn't even really want and you didn't think was good enough, but you had to hire somebody. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So going back to all these questions we've asked or answered about, when would he be fired or what's the record that it needs to be and all that. We'll see. And then Michael Alford doesn't care. I don't agree with that. Michael Alford, absolutely. It's his number one priority. He has not done great the last 2 years, but I don't think anybody blames him for trying to keep Mike Norvell. He gave him an exorbitant contract because he cared about Florida State football. It fell on its face, and it turned out to be a disastrous contract. It can get a little less disastrous if they're actually decent this year. And if not, well, you saved a little bit of money. Now you're in the searching business, and you can go pay a search firm $250,000 to tell you that this guy went 9-3 at North Texas or something. But you want to talk about a cottage industry that is I will never understand the search firms. Just won't understand it, Aslan. Not that you cared or asked. But yeah, so that's where I am with this. Is like I'm kind of relegated to the idea that Mike Norvell isn't a very good coach. I know that's or isn't a good coach in the moment. It doesn't need to be the head coach here for very much longer. I know that's a controversial take, but I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing in the world for Florida State football to wear another mediocre year, whittle down this contract, get your ducks in a row if it doesn't work out, to then figure out who the guy is you really want. Who the guy you've whittled 3 years off that crazy extension you gave him, and whittled is the word of the year, folks. This is all. It's not keep sawing or keep chopping wood.
Keep climbing.
It's keep whittling. Keep whittling down that contract. That's going to be the mantra of the fan base. And then we'll see where they are in December. You saved another $10 million. Maybe you go get somebody really good. And even if you don't, it won't hurt as much. It won't be as risky to fire him to go get an unknown if you've saved yourself with the Malzahn and the Norvell extra year, you've saved yourself somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 or $17 million. It makes it a little less risky. But in the meantime, you might make us all suffer through some more nonsense, which does suck, and I'm not dismissing that.
This is probably a really good place to leave off. It's been a long show, but we got a couple more. I'm gonna give you a minute on this one, Corey, to respond.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna read two, and we'll just go out on whatever you have to say. Gator Kirk, minute on the clock after I'm done, Corey.
Okay.
Wake up. Why does Corey keep harping on money being saved from not firing Coach Norvell, etc.? That is not saving money because the expense for the salary, etc., is still there. Wondering where the logic of that being savings comes from.
So the logic is that if you had fired Mike Norvell, you're paying him, but nobody else is coming to coach for free. So you're saving money one way or the other. Does that make sense? Like, instead of paying Mike Norvell, whatever, $10 million not to coach, you'd be paying him
$5 million to coach.
Yeah, you'd be paying him $10 million to coach. You'd be paying Mike Norvell $10 million to not coach, and then whoever you brought in, $6.5 million, plus all the coachings hires you'd have to make and all the buyouts of the assistants you'd have to make. Like, literally, if you had fired Mike Norvell and all his coaching staff, which stands to reason, that's in the neighborhood of, just for this year, the 2026, you would be paying somewhere in the neighborhood of, I guess, $16 million in buyouts, $18 million, somewhere around there, plus the $25 million or so. Well, maybe that's a little much. Yeah, it's probably close. The $25 million, $20 to $25 million you'd have to pay for the new staff. So that's $42 million you'd be paying for your football coaching operation. Just to go to football coaches at Florida State would be $42 million. Right now, it's probably $25 million. So that's the money I'm talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was a minute 20. I timed myself. Sorry, Gator Kirk. Sorry, Aslan.
All right. Island Chief, and then random _ John, doozy from John. Island Chief, wake up. Imagine for a moment this scenario, October 2025. Gus and Mike are talking in private about the future. Gus agrees he will leave at the end of the season. He doesn't want to do this again. But he agrees to stay through January to make sure that Mike will be the play caller for 2026. Is that impossible, not likely, plausible, more than plausible, or likely? I have more sinister conspiracies, but I don't share them unless you belong to the Tin Hat Club. Oh, that's good. It sounds so much better when I read it out loud.
There was a conspiracy that the challenge, there's people, not many, I guess, that the astronauts on the Challenger didn't really die.
Oh, jeez.
Can you believe that? Because there's people with those names. We were at Corner Pocket, and Bill was telling us about it. There's not that he believes in it. I want to make that clear. But there's people with those kind of names or very similar names that look a lot like the astronauts that just went on to have normal lives and be like professors and teachers and stuff. Anyway, there's literally a conspiracy for everything, I think. Anything in our lives, there's a conspiracy for. With this...
What a kamikaze mission by Gus, right? Like, all right, but big dog, I got you. You got me paid. I got out of UCF. I got some money. I appreciate it. Yeah, the only way they're going to let you call plays is that if I cancel and I quit and retire at the last possible minute, I'm in.
I just don't think Gus would have. I don't think he would have been in the foot. Maybe he just came in to show himself at the football league facilities during those portal meetings with the kids in the portal. But we know he was in the building and he was meeting with players. I don't know that Gus would have just done that just for Mike Norvell. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Gus would have played that game. Maybe it would have, maybe got paid for it, so that helps, I guess. Anybody will do anything for money, enough money. It's a good theory. I don't believe it. And the reason I don't believe it is because I'd like to think that Mike Norvell is smart enough to realize that much of his, the rest of his life will be dictated by the quarterback play of Florida State University in 2026. And I just don't know that this is how he would have wanted it to end up if he was going to be calling his offense. Yeah. But it's a good theory. A friend helping out a friend.
I like it.
I do think there's definitely a possibility. I can't believe it was 100% blindside either, though. Like, I do think there's a chance they talked through the course of the season, like, hey, do you want to keep doing this? And Malzahn's like, yeah, I think so, or yes, or maybe.
I know, but once you start shopping for the groceries, aren't you like, hey, man, like, you're in then, right? Like, we're doing this. We're grabbing your running back. We're grabbing your quarterback. You're in, right? Yeah. Or I don't know, man. Like, I'll let you know by February 1. And then you're like, all right, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
And maybe Malzahn was like, look, we need to pursue this as if there's a chance, not a big one, but maybe there's a chance I won't be here. So when we take these players or we talk to these players and we go over film, think in your head like what it might look like if I'm not here. Maybe those conversations were had. Or maybe he just pulled the rug out from under everyone. Today, as much as I don't know Gus Malzahn, and literally I have no interaction with him except 6-minute press conferences, it's hard for me to believe he would just completely sideswipe and blindside Mike Norvell to this degree.
All right.
But maybe he thought he was being nice by when it dawned on him, like, I need to tell him now. I don't need to go through spring practice. I need to get I need to tell him early enough before spring practice. And Malzahn didn't even realize it until late January. And he told Norvell as soon as it became official in his brain that he didn't want to do it anymore. It's hard to know. Maybe we'll never know.
Well, that dovetails into random_John's question, our last question of the day, last show of the week, probably. Good morning, guys. With Gus gone, random_John writes in, my concern isn't just about play calling going back to Mike. I am more worried about what this says about FSU's organizational control and risk tolerance. Over the last 2 seasons, FSU added layers. They brought in Gus. They closed practices. They took responsibility away from Norvell. That looked and felt a lot like an attempt to de-risk Norvell rather than empower him. So my question is, was Gus's hire an admission that the program no longer trusted Norvell's offensive identity? And if so, what does it say about the administration's confidence now that everything is handed back to him with no safety net? Is this a genuine reset or a final exposure to see whether he can stand on his own?
Yeah, I think Ira said it really well. I didn't know he had verbalized it. I don't know if he had verbalized it like this before, but on headlines he talked about that. In hindsight, that was an overreaction to not just obviously.
Who's
it was
overreaction though? That's what I need a name on that, man. Who overreacted? Did Michael Alford overreact and say no way? Did Mike Norvell?
I think it was a combination of it. Like, look, man, they weren't going to fire Norvell after 2-10. But and I'm not saying it was an overreaction to fire the offensive coordinator.
I know, but we heard Brennan Marion was the lead candidate, right? Like, that's a guy that he knows. They'll probably work in collaboration. Like, seeing Gus's name on the dark horse thing was a joke. I thought. I don't think there was a huge push for him to totally give everything up unless he got some like elite guy that was going to bring a quarterback.
So the overreaction might have been on his own part. Like he misfired and miscalculated so badly in 2024 to such an alarming degree that you might wonder if you've lost your grip on reality. Like, legitimately, do I even know what I'm doing anymore? Like, what did I think was happening in August of 2024 to put out that product? I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. And there's a guy out there that is willing to help me that I know will stabilize things and will raise the floor significantly from where we just were, which is what Malzahn did offensively because they were subterranean. He at least got to, I don't know, the 3rd floor. Like, if you jumped out the window, it would hurt. High enough that if you jumped out the window, you wouldn't just go on with your day, but still not to the moon. But yeah, so I think Norvell, it definitely wasn't an overreaction by the administration to be like, you've got to make changes. This is ridiculous. And Norvell might have done it on his own anyway, but I do think there was an edict there. Like, yeah, man, you've got to make some pretty drastic changes. I don't know they came to him and said, because how could they? He makes more than all of them. How could they say you've got to give up play calling? Yep. I think Norvell did it to himself.
He said, fast fix, man, right after the Florida game. At that podium, they hired Gus like less than 24 hours, like 48 hours later.
Well, and look, man, he wasn't lying. It wasn't a great fix. It wasn't a great repair. The offense was fixed to a degree. Like, the car could run again, but it could only go 45. Or, yeah, right. I was going to do the bus and speed. But that thing could drive as fast as it wanted. It just couldn't go below 55, right? That was the whole thing. Yep. So, yeah, this car probably couldn't go over 50, but it worked. It got you to, competence. But yeah, it wasn't a great fix. It didn't get him in the Formula One. I'm going all over with these references now.
Let's wrap
these
it up.
Analogies. I'm
Let's go
crushing
home.
it.
Let's go
crushing it late in the week. So I think he overreacted to being like, I've got to make this huge change to my program. I've got to bring in this big swinging blank that I know can run the offense, that gave him my fresh start, that I know his offense will work to a degree, and I'll take a back seat. In hindsight, that was he didn't need to do that. Was an overreaction. He could have gotten and gone Brennan Marion, or he could have just gotten somebody. He could have made Tokars the OC.
Do they beat Alabama though? And if they don't beat Alabama, they're 4-8.
No, man. I don't. Who knows, man? They might have gone 1-11 with him. But I who knows? But I'm saying I think that he swung so far in the other direction from. Again, as we've talked about, the first 12 years of his career as an OC, pretty good offenses. Some great, some okay, but never anything disastrous. And then he had one disastrous season and just completely flipped it and switched everything. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, you should, man. That's the time to realize you don't have it. Others might say, yeah, man, I made some bad mistakes personnel-wise. I'll fix that. We'll be good. I know I can coach. And, so – I'm not saying it was the wrong reaction, but it was definitely a big one. And
it's only an overreaction if it works out this year. If he actually ends up being the play caller and things go back to being.
Oh, no, I just mean overreaction. Like that's not what he wanted. 2025 wasn't what Mike Norvell wanted. He didn't want to come to Florida State and give up play calling duties and sit there and just beat his chest.
You just said he makes more money than everybody else. No one's going to dictate to him what he has to do.
No, I'm saying it's not where he thought he'd be after 20. He was trying. I think he was legitimately thinking what was best in the immediate short term for the Florida State football program, which is kind of what he always should be thinking about. And it was a mistake in hindsight, or maybe not. Maybe they would have gone 2-10 the next year. But in his heart of hearts, he is an offensive play caller. He is an offensive coordinator that gets paid a lot of money to run an entire program. Just like Jimbo was, just like Bowden was for a long time, just like Mark Richt was. In their hearts, they're OCs. Yeah. And he gave it up after one bad year. Now, it was a horrible year, but he gave it up after one bad year. This is him taking it back. Man, he was giving it back, however you want to say it. He's taking it back, and he's going to go down with the ship. Or, again, he's allowed to avoid the iceberg and actually sail off into the distance. And Rose and Jack can live. It's not written that Jack had to die. Although I guess Rose made up for his early, untimely death by living to, I guess, 117 or however old that woman was in that movie.
Nice.
Anyway, you didn't think we'd be talking about Titanic at the end, did you, Aslan?
I didn't, but here we are. This is part of the Corey Clark experience, everybody.
Yeah, it's part of Florida State football, baby.
Love it.
It's either the Hindenburg or the Titanic. Choose.
Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock, warchant.com around the clock. Softball season starts today. Go support your softball program, everybody. And we'll see if we can get that interview with Lonnie and Corey up for your
and Aslan, you were a part of it, too.
Yeah, bounce out. My audio is all jacked up. Anyhow, it's my job. What am I doing? Corey? All right, we're done. Probably done for the week as well. We'll be back on Monday. Sure, there'll be plenty to talk about. Can't wait for that. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins. CumminsLifestyle. Follow them on Instagram.